the bathroom, to his stuffed animals, every single place. Fast forward a couple of years, he thought he was going to be on So You Think You Can Dance, because he thought he was going to be an amazing dancer. He is a good dancer, but he thought he was going to make it in this world as a dancer. You know when you're a little kid and your mom's like, go up there, go perform in front of my friends, and you're just like, no, like you're embarrassing me, stop. My brother wasn't that kid. No. I was that kid. I was like, you're embarrassing me. My brother was like, yes. Before she even stopped, he would go up and he would just dance and he would sing and he would perform, and he was so free about it. He didn't care what anyone thought of him. He could have been horrible, but he didn't care because he thought he was amazing. Fast forward to high school, my brother thought he was going to be the next Stephen Curry. 5'4" little Stephen Curry right there. Yeah, Stephen Curry's a little short, but yeah, he was pretty. He thought he was going to be the next basketball player. He went to all of the practices. He was going to quit debate for basketball because he thought he was going to make it as an NBA star. And no matter what anyone told him, you could not tell him that he was a bad basketball player because he did not think that. He would make friends with random people in our neighborhood and he would start playing basketball. These like 6 feet guys, and he's just like really just playing and having a good time and not caring what anyone thinks. Fast forward even a few years from then, he decided to do debate. And I thought, oh, this is a new passion that just started. He'll do it for a few years, he'll do it for a few months. It's not like he'll be like on the USA debate team or something. It's just like, you know, he'll just do it, he'll dip his feet in it, and then he'll stop. That didn't happen, because as you can see, he turned out amazing at it. He put his 100% into it, and even then some. He would practice his speeches in the bathtub, and the line at Wendy's, and the lady behind me, she's just like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm just confused. Like, what's going on? And that was my brother. He did not care. He had tunnel vision. He saw right past through all of you in the room. He would perform and he would practice and he did not care. And I'm just like, are we related? Like, what's going on? Because I always cared and he didn't. And what I realized after all the things that he's done, out of being a singer, a dancer, a basketball player, a debater, all of those passions that he had, what I realized that there are two things that binds all of those things together. One, he's bold enough to show up to everything. He's bold enough to show up to the talent shows. He's bold enough to show up to the basketball court. He's bold enough to show up to tournaments even though he's not good yet. He's bold enough to show up. And the second thing, when he does show up, he does not care what anybody thinks of him. He does not make assumptions about what people are going to say about him. He does not think for people. He lets them think, and he's open to feedback, but he's not open to assumptions. And I admire that. I admire those two things. And as I'm writing these things down, preparing for this speech, I'm just writing those two things down, and I'm like, these are really common things. We tell each other that all the time. Be bold, show up, don't care about what people think. And I'm writing it, and I'm having this amazing epiphany at that moment, and I'm thinking, what an amazing way to live. What a beautiful way to participate in life. Being bold enough and not caring what people think. My brother is free and he lives unapologetically like himself. And that is a ridiculously amazing and awesome thing that he does. I'm going to share one last story before I end. And this is a story that I think was very important for him to understand and go through. He came back from a tournament where he lost that tournament, and I asked him, what's going on? Like, why don't you, like, why do you look so down? And And for all my non-debaters in the room, you can just ignore this part because you're not going to understand what I'm saying. But for the debaters in my room, he dropped a perm in one of his rounds. There you go. Yeah, see? You see? That's who all the debaters are, right over there. English teachers in the room, it's like, the best analogy I can give, it's like not writing a thesis statement in a paper. It's like, yeah, the paper just fell apart. For math teachers, it's like, I don't know, like you just got a 0. Like it was, like there was nothing going on. Like he dropped the most important argument ever. We are geeks, I know. And he was really upset about it. And I looked at him and I was just like, you did what? That's really funny. You suck. That's bad. And I thought we were joking about it. I thought we were just having a conversation. We were just joking, and that's how we are. We always joke around with each other. We have that type of relationship. And 3 days later, he's still upset. I'm driving him to school, and he's just so down. He just looks so miserable, and I'm like, what's going on? I forgot we had this conversation. And he tells me, I dropped a perm. I feel like such a horrible debater. Like I feel like I just let everyone down. And I look at him, I'm like, that's why you're upset? Like you've been upset for this long because of a ridiculous debate argument?
It was octos.
It was a big tournament, okay. And at that moment, he was really upset. And I had to be an adult, which is really weird to say, and I had to realize that this is a kid in front of me, and this is really important to him. And even though it doesn't seem like a big deal to me, because I know 3 years later, and this is not going to be a really big deal, he doesn't know that. And I also realized at that moment, he was about to do 2 things. He was about to not be bold enough to show up to the next tournament. He was thinking about way too much about what people thought about him. He was doing the 2 exact things that he doesn't do. And that was a crossroad for him. And it humanized him. And it also made me realize that no matter how bold someone is, no matter how courageous someone is, everyone needs a reminder of how bold they are. Everyone needs someone to tell them, to remind them that they are bold. And I had to do that. I had to tell him, you have to be a good loser to be a good winner. You can't be a good winner if you don't know how to lose. And I had to remind him of how bold he is. And I had to tell him, get up and go back. And that just reminded me that I need to always give reminders. And I would say that to all of you as well, that no matter how bold someone is, that you know when they're at that point, where they're at that crossroad, big things don't really change people. It's those tiny things that we gloss over that change people. It's like me glossing over and making fun of him that could have changed him. And I didn't gloss over that because that was important. It's those things that you don't remember. It's those little whimpers that you really forget about. That's what's important. So I will end with my favorite quote ever. And that's the advice that I will give to you. It's by Michael Singer. And it's a quote that goes like, and I guess I'm paraphrasing this right now, but it's, never close your heart to anything. Never let something be important and close your heart to it. Nothing is ever important that you close your heart to it. So I will just remind you, and I'll always be there to remind you. But if I'm not there to remind you, just know, close your eyes, count to 10, and just know, be bold enough to show up, and don't care at all what anybody thinks about you, because it matters what you think about yourself. Thank you so much.